March 9th, 2023. Change is inevitable and often uncomfortable. Whether it be personal, environmental, or just coins rattling around in your pocket, it can feel unnatural, unnecessary, and unwelcome in your life. From something as small as a roommate rearranging the furniture to taking a step back and reevaluating your own personal values and beliefs that have become a default setting in your daily routine, change is all around us. Throughout my entire adult life, I had grown up in a culture rooted in the occupation of preparing for and fighting wars. When your shared purpose among strangers you now consider family is to stay in a state of readiness against the world's evil, a unique byproduct is a subculture of self-deprecation and negligible behavior towards oneself. When the idea of putting yourself last to the needs of your country and those of the people around you is constantly reinforced, how can anyone be expected to make themselves a priority at the end of a day? The lifestyle I'd become accustomed to throughout my service, though necessary at the time, would ultimately be my greatest battle in my transition to civilian life. I was introduced to a group of men and women who genuinely believed they were invincible, and it didn't take long for me to believe the same about myself. I'm well aware it is impossible to be invincible, but the incredible feats of strength and resiliency I witnessed on a daily basis constantly reinforced this belief. What happens when the purpose of preparing for violence is mixed with the distorted reality of one's own bodily capabilities? For me, and many others, this combination results in the excess consumption and tolerance of alcohol and pain, either self-inflicted or external. My daily routine became 12 to 16 hours of manual labor and training and ended with getting an average of 5 hours of sleep per night, but not until I'd consumed enough alcohol to make a medium-sized elephant go cross-eyed. When you know for a fact that there is a long line of barracks rooms doing the exact same thing every day, how can you possibly identify this as abnormal? In the military, it takes 13 weeks to transform you from a scared and scrawny kid to a hardened, disciplined, and disgruntled service member prepared for the mission ahead. Every minute of every day throughout this 3-month transformation is methodically planned and executed to mold you into a United States Marine. If it takes 91 days to go from civilian to service member, then naturally you'd think that you'd be given an equal amount of time to transition back when your enlistment ends. But this is not the case. 5 days is all you are given. 5 days of information overload that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of the true difficulties and nuances of the world you're going back to. When I left the military, I had done so with the goal of becoming an artist. Whether that was through drawing, photography, or written word, it didn't matter. I just wanted to create. With most of these mediums being a freelance occupation, I spent most of my days making art, shipping prints, and responding to potential clients. From sunup to sundown, I was sure to jam-pack my days with productivity just as they had been in the service. Each day would end with my usual 1 or 6 drinks and a feeling of dissatisfaction and unfulfillment towards the work I had done that day. No amount of art created, clients taken, or orders shipped was going to make me feel as accomplished as I did in the Marine Corps. This vicious cycle of overworking and overdrinking to keep up with an impossible and incomparable metrics for a hard day's work that I'd adopted from the military eventually took its toll on me in the civilian world. Through a process of trial and error, I had found that the only true solution to my problem was to reevaluate and deconstruct much of what I thought I knew. I realized that I wasn't the same person I was when I was 18 years old and fresh out of boot camp. Not only did I no longer look or feel the same, I no longer shared many of the same values or beliefs as him. How could I possibly continue through life with the same habits and metrics with someone I no longer even agreed with? If I continued to constantly look at my days as an artist through the lens of a Marine, then the feeling of mission accomplishment and fulfillment would be a thing of the past. To quote Miyamoto Musashi, "It is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war." While I do believe it is better to be a warrior in a garden, I have found it is equally important to learn the ways of the gardener for when the war inevitably ends. Though a gardener may not last long in the midst of conflict, neither will the warrior, who is never equipped with the knowledge and tools to tend to his new environment back home.